Welcome. Welcome back to episode 18. Yeah, 18. We've come a long way. We've come a hell of a long way. My name is Gav. I'm the host of this here show. You are here watching One More Round Fights on YouTube. Again, if you're new here, what we do here is we're an MMA show, a boxing show, a betting show. So we combine the three and we also give you news. Okay? First and foremost, scan the QR code below. Scan the QR code on your left to be subscribed to the Main Card Minute. That's where we did a full card watch along yesterday for UFC 310, Pantoja versus Asakura. And guess what? If you scan the QR code on your right, you become a fan of this here channel, One More Round Fights, where we give you UFCP units, news on Sundays, parlays, picks, cut downs, breakdowns, bets, everything, all of the sort. So please scan that QR code below, become a fan. Also, follow on social media, follow on TikTok, Instagram, and, hit that like and subscribe below so you can become part of the family. We're growing. We're getting bigger every single day. So, don't be the last. If you've won by any advice you've taken on this here show, please send those in to onemoreroundfights@gmail.com. I want to see them. I want to see how much money we made together. Sometimes it's small. Sometimes it's big. It was almost a big one. We'll see that later in this week's wins. But yeah, please send those in. I want to make you part of this week's wins. And shout out to our sponsor, W.GG. Use promo code One More Round for 10% off. That is promo code One More Round for 10% off. Let's see. Is there anything else to get into before we get into this jam-packed show that I'll try to condense into 1 hour so we get you out before football starts? Okay? Let's start fast. Alexandre Pantoja submits Kai Asakura. Second round. Rear naked. Now, as you already know, we predicted this. UFCP units showed us the way. And I hope you all will tune into UFCP units from here on out because, again, highly accurate to outcomes. Okay, there's only one that deviated from the bunch, but highly accurate to outcomes. Just saying. Alexandre Pantoja does what he does. Puts his head down, throws some strikes, tries to get you down to the mat, take your back. And if he does, he submits you. He puts you to sleep. And he put Kai Asakura right to sleep. Kai Asakura didn't really show too much in this fight. He did show that he has some great knees and he has some great athleticism inside of there. He showed that he can show some takedown defense, though it didn't work the entire time because he ended up succumbing to Pantoja's submission attempts and takedown attempts. But Kai did show that he could be something fun in the UFC, so that was nice to see. It wasn't a lay down and get finished type of performance. He did show that he could land some powerful strikes, and if he gets his timing right and his positioning right and lands with the right amount of force, he could put you out. So shout out to Kai Asakura. He didn't look terrible, but he didn't look great. Now the champ, Alexandre Pantoja, looked fantastic. Even the shots that he did take, he ate him on the chest and kept coming forward. He landed good shots. He landed kicks. He landed punches. Eventually, he took his opponent down. He kept him down. He took his back, and he choked him out, put him to sleep. Alexandre Pantoja remains your flyweight champion. Alexandre Pantoja beating everybody. That is now a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fight win streak for the champ. First finish in his title reign. Great win in his cap. Great feather. Who does he fight next? Now we saw Brandon Royval in the crowd. Let's take a look at these rankings. Royval sitting at number 1. Huh. Royval did get finished by him last time, but since then, 2 split decision wins over Moreno and Tyra. 2 great wins. Don't let the splits change how you think about that. So Brandon Royval, very much number 1 contender right now. Very much first in line for a title shot. Brandon Moreno also picking up a great win, but does he jump Brandon Royval after losing to him? No. Does Kai Kara France sneak in there before both of them? No. So I see the Brandon Royval fight next. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, as for Kai Asakura, there's so many things we could do with this guy. Amir Albazi's a good fight. See if Albazi could take him down or eat a strike. Kai Kara France, fun striker fight. We can do that. Where do we put him in the rankings as well? He didn't just fly in there. They don't even have him ranked, I don't think. Yeah, he's not even ranked in here. So where does he go? Does he go above Albazi? Does he go below Kara France? Does he go above Tyra, but below Kara France? Does Kara France move up above Albazi? What happens to the rankings on Monday? I don't know. I think, for one, Asakura should come in at 10. He should come in right below Manel Kopp. He should come in right below Manel Kopp, but above Tim Elliott. I think that's where he should land. You know, he's not better than these Ersegs, Kara Francis, Kopps. He's fought Kopp before, by the way. Kai Asakura has fought Manel Kopp. Don't forget that. And guess what? He lost by TKO. He does have a win over him by split, but he lost to him last by TKO. So that is my biggest reasoning for putting him at 10 underneath Manel Kopp. So if you have any, reservations about my reasoning on that. But besides that, that pretty much sums up flyweight right there. Those are the matchups that should happen next. Asakura, if he doesn't want to take a flyweight fight next, he should jump in at bantamweight, but top 15 under 10s. So I'm thinking like a Kyler Phillips, an Ayman Zahabi, a Marcus McGee, a Montel Jackson, something like that. But no fast track at bantamweight. We've seen what a flyweight can do to him. So if he does want to move up, he's either got to start at the bottom of the 15 or unranked. But I think for flyweight, he's a top 10er. He's a top 10er. For sure. I would put him above a Tim Elliott. No disrespect to Tim Elliott. But I would put him under a Manel Kopp. I think he's a little bit better than a Bruno Silva or a Cody Durden, as we saw him fight earlier in the night. So definitely in the above 15, under 9 for Kai Asakura. Moving on. Shavkat Rakhmonov defeats Ian Machado-Garry. Unanimous decision across the board. I couldn't believe it. It was a great performance. It was 48-47 across the board. So it shows you Ian Machado-Garry is of that top 5 ilk. He's pretty damn good. He didn't get finished by a finisher. And he's going to tell you that on Monday himself, more than likely. Shavkat Rakhmonov puts on a classic Shavkat performance, gets the takedown multiple times. Threatens, chokes, makes Garry work, hangs on the back, landing small clinch strikes and knees here and there just to annoy him, and making it look like he was winning the fight, always pressing forward. So Shavkat Rakhmonov didn't get the better of Ian Garry in this fight, but I feel like if they fight 10 times, we get that fight split down the middle, kind of like that more often than not because of the fact that these guys train together so often at Kill Cliff. Now, they may not have been direct training partners, but if you've trained MMA or been to an MMA gym, you kind of just move around the room during a training session, kind of switch up partners as you go. So who knows how many times they've sparred? Could be in the tens, could be in the hundreds. Over years, over the span of a year, could be a lot if these guys train every single day at the same time, which they probably do because that's how these sessions are usually set up. So I kind of expected this to go to decision. I just thought it would be a Machado-Garry sneak win. And I bet that way, and I was penalized for it. So yeah, Ian Machado-Garry puts on a great performance, even though losing. Doesn't get hurt with anything big. Does get caught a couple times with some big strikes, but doesn't get hurt or dropped in any way. As did Shavkat Rakhmonov. Both gentlemen showed great chins, great octagon awareness, great fight IQ. Both of them showed solid striking acumen, solid submission defense, good scrambles. Both of these guys fought really well. So I don't think there was a loser in this fight, honestly, but somebody had to lose, and it was Ian Machado-Garry. And it sets up what we saw in the ring at the end for Shavkat Rakhmonov. Needless to say, we know what's next for this guy. He will be getting that fight against Belal Muhammad, the champion at welterweight. That is what we saw in the octagon. They faced off afterwards. Shavkat laughing with his hat on. Belal taking it a little serious, but also succumbing to a little laughter at the end of it. And yeah, these guys they're gonna fight. Now the date is probably unclear. I don't care what date they wrote on that graphic. Injuries take time to heal. And if it was an injury by Belal that made him pull out, it's going to take him a little while. So I see it happening in the summertime fight. That's going to be a summertime fight for sure. I don't care what they wrote on the guy. If they said March, it's a lie. If they said February, it's a lie. It's probably going to happen in the summer. Shavkat's going to want to take a little time off, work on his game, because he's going to probably think that, damn, Ian Machado-Garry took me to a close decision like that. Nah. If he does that, what'll Belal do? You know, he's a grappler too. Or if I can't fall back on my striking like I did here. So I don't know. I see a little time being taken before this fight happens. But we know what fight is next. Now for Ian Machado-Garry. Plenty of things to do with this guy. Plenty of things to do with this guy. Now, since he lost the title eliminator, that tells us that we think he could have fought for the title in such a close fight, right? So that means that opens up the door for Leon Edwards, for Kamaru Usman, for Sean Brady, for Jack Della Maddalena. If Colby Covington wins or loses this weekend, that opens the door. That opens the door for the Buckley fight, as Buckley would coin it, Buck versus Cuck. There's so many fights that could happen. 7 total fights that I would love to see Ian Machado-Garry in. Basically anybody in the top 10 except for Gilbert Burns. That's the only fight I don't want to see. So yeah, it's going to be a fun next year for both gentlemen. I can't wait to see it. Now, let's go over the UFC 310 results. Plenty of other fights on this card. Let's go top to bottom from here. We already went through the main and the co-main event. So, Cyril Gane defeated Alexander Volkov, split decision, 29-28, 28-29, 29-28. UFC P unit simulation strikes again. In the simulation, I thought Gane would win, and Volkov won. In real life, I thought Volkov would win, and Gane won. That was scary accurate. We knew to go with the decision here. We knew to go with fight goes the distance. We saw the first time they fought for 5 rounds, it went the distance. The simulation made it go the distance. All signs pointed to this fight going the distance, and that's what it did. Now, do you think Cyril Gane won that fight? Probably not. I know I don't, and I had money on Cyril Gane. He was in my parlay. That was already dead. We'll go over that in a little bit. But Cyril Gane probably did not win that fight. If you ask him yourself, he will probably tell you that he did not win that fight. Alexander Volkov felt robbed. In the octagon, after the fight, after getting his hand dropped, he felt robbed. In the post-fight interview, he voiced his opinions about feeling robbed. And I'm sure all this week when he does interviews on various social media outlets and MMA platforms, he'll be telling you that himself. I expect to see him on a few of my colleagues' channels coming up. So, weird decision. Not sure who the 3 judges were, but I guess we're going to have to call them out now because I don't like to do it, but we have to call these people out when they make these decisions that go these ways. Who was it? Gotta look at these cards. I'm gonna find them. I gotta do it. I'll waste time finding these damn cards. I'll do it. Live blog? No, I need the card. Okay, I need the card. Let's see. Oh, I didn't write scorecards. I just wrote cards. That was dumb. Oh, here we go. Found it on Twitter. Found it on X. You ready? Oh, man. Guess who was on there? Guess who, y'all? It's one or two people. It's one or two people that could have been. It's either Sal or Adelaide. It's Sal or Adelaide. Who do you think it was? It was Adelaide Bird. Adelaide Bird. Yep. Adelaide Bird. 29-28 for Gane. And then also Junichiro Kamijo gave it for Gane. Eric Colon gave it for Volkov. So not completely on Adelaide. If it was Adelaide and Sal, I would have been like, damn, usual suspects. But, I'll give the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, Adelaide at it again. I want to make that shirt. Adelaide at it again. I'm going to write that down. Because I want that. I really do want that shirt. Maybe have that on the back of the shirt and have a little one more round logo. Because, it applies to boxing and MMA. Adelaide's all over the place these days. So, anyways, yeah, that's why we got that decision. Go back and watch the fight, score it yourself. Come back here, tell me what you think. But I thought that was a Volkov fight, and I had gone in my parlays. That tells you all you need to know. Moving on, Bryce Mitchell knocks out Kron Gracie, slamming elbows, round 3. We all had this going to decision. We all had this being a Bryce Mitchell win, but going to decision. Bryce Mitchell literally never showing knockout power, only having submission wins and decision wins, and displaying it by a slam and then some elbows from the full guard of Kron Gracie, putting him out in just 2. Yeah, Kron Gracie finished. Bryce Mitchell, performance of his career. Can I say that? He has a couple nice wins. He's beat Dan Ige, unanimous decision. He's beat Edson Barbosa and Andre Fili. But the finish over, granted it's Kron Gracie, but Gracie's never been finished before. He's only lost by decision. So to finish Kron Gracie, albeit by KO, it's a nice win. A Gracie win on your belt is a nice win. Will we remember Dan Ige in 30 years? Maybe. Edson Barbosa, definitely. Terry Edom. Andre Fili, maybe. But the Kron Gracie name, Gracie specifically, that's going to stick around. He's going to say, I beat a Gracie once. So, yeah, I knocked out a Gracie once. He'll be able to say. So, really good win for Bryce Mitchell, especially since he wants to make this climb, having fought the champ already, not doing great against him, but having fought him before and knowing what it takes. So, Bryce Mitchell's climb looks phenomenal. I can't wait to see what he does next. And Kron Gracie, I don't know what to do from here, my man. Take a little time off. You tend to do that for your fights. So take a year or two off, come back. He's still young, still very young. He's only 36, though it is at a lower weight class, 45. 36 isn't too old yet. Jose Aldo's still around at 35. So, yeah, I could see Kron Gracie still doing great things, still getting some good matchups here and there. Still a fun fighter to watch, always comes forward. The only thing I didn't like was that he was pulling guard, which, didn't help in the end for him because pulling guard led to him being slammed in that round 3 and then getting elbowed twice and put to sleep. But yeah. Other results on the card. Duho Choi defeats Nate Landwehr. TKO. Elbows. Landwehr didn't look great this entire fight. Was getting pushed back the entire fight. Kind of looked lost on the feet. Kind of looked tired too. Gassed out a little early. And then he got finished. It never looked like he ever had a chance in this fight, honestly. He never really put Choi in danger. He kept backpedaling. He was breathing heavy in between rounds. He just didn't look like himself. He didn't look like Nate the Train that we're used to seeing. And that's what I feared by putting him in the parlay. So, yeah, more to come on this week's wins. And then on the prelims, Dominic Reyes defeated Anthony Smith by TKO, elbows and punches in round 2, 4 minutes and 46 seconds. We almost got out. We almost got into round 3 for a decision, but nope. Referee stoppage. Dominic Reyes defeated Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith with the loss of his coach this week. Very emotional walking into the octagon. Getting his name said by Bruce Buffer. Even right before the fight, even in between rounds, you could tell he was emotional. Probably shouldn't have took the fight. Ended up retiring at the end of it. Probably should have retired before this fight, but didn't want to quit. Probably is not what his coach would have wanted. So he ended up taking the fight. Mark Montoya in his corner. And yeah, I believe Mark Montoya had a purple press pass for the coach that should have been there, that he was showing to Anthony Smith in between rounds and before the fight. So it was a little bit of a motivational crutch for him, but he ended up losing to Dominic Reyes. We had it correct. The UFC P units method was correct, but, the wrong fighter won because the simulation had Smith winning by TKO round 2, and it ended up being Dominic Reyes. Vicente Luque defeats Dembe Garimbo. Technical submission, anaconda choke. Round 1, 52 seconds in. Drops him with a punch. Then jumps on it looked like a darce, but it was an anaconda. Puts him to sleep. Ends the great story of Dembe Garimbo. The climb starts now for Dembe. Vicente Luque finally gets on the winning track. Hasn't done too well in the last few years, but is starting to turn some pinks into greens. Has beat Rafael Dos Anjos and Dembe Garimbo. Only lost to Joaquin Buckley in the last 2 years. So that's pretty good. Back on the winning track for Vicente Luque. Wish I bet on him. I didn't. Couldn't bet against my guy Garimbo. But what can you do? Evloev defeats Aljamain Sterling. Unanimous decision, 29-28 across the board. Aljo Definitely won that round 1, controlling, taking the back of Evloev. But Evloev peeped his game plan, saw what he was doing, flipped the game plan on him in rounds 2 and 3, made Aljo work off of his back, was landing the better strikes, was landing more strikes in the clinch and on the ground, ended up stealing it on the judges' scorecards. Evloev definitely going to set himself up for a big fight after this. Weird that this fight was placed so low on the card because there's no real matchmaking to do for most of these other fighters on the card that we spoke of. Maybe Dominic Reyes and Anthony Smith because, you know, they were 12 and 13 respectively. But either way, one of those guys is getting Johnny Walker next, in my opinion. But yeah, for those two, Aljo could probably fight Arnold Allen next, maybe Brian Ortega, and Evloev could finally look up at that top 5. He already beat Diego Lopez, maybe a Yair. Max is taking some time off. Volk is probably fighting for the belt. So Evloev Yair or Evloev to wait for his title shot. I think those are the best 2 options for him. But yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time on that fight. It wasn't a great fight for either guy. Nobody looked dominant. It wasn't like a title shot performance. So I don't want to, you know, give it too much shine. And catchweight fight, because Brian Battle missed weight. Also, Anthony Smith missed weight in his fight. That should be noted. But Brian Battle defeats Randy Brown, split decision, 28-29, 29-28, 29-28. I had Brown winning the fight, even though Battle was pushing the action more. I just had Randy Brown landing the better, more powerful shots, especially in that round 3. Round 1 went to Brown. Round 2 was probably a battle round. He just landed way more strikes in round 2, and it came down to round 3. And I thought Randy Brown hurt him with a couple shots in that round 3 that edged it for him, even though Brian Battle was pushing forward and trying to push him up against the fence. When he did have Brown against the fence, he wasn't landing too many strikes that were powerful. It was just little pitter-patter shots and small knees, while Randy Brown was landing big elbows in the clinch, landing big punches, and, you know, he landed that combo that almost dropped Brian Battle. It looked like it wobbled him. So I don't know. But yeah, Brian Battle comes out with the win. Very good win for him. No fighter spotlight this week. No fighter spotlight this week. But I already did one on Brian Battle. He did get a good win. And if you want to add this little synopsis to what I just did on the fighter spotlight, go check out my fighter spotlight on Brian Battle. Go check it out. It's on the channel right now. I'll put the QR code up on the channel right now. Scan the QR code. Go to fighter spotlights and you'll see Brian Battle. It should be one of the last 3 or 4 done. And then if you do that, you could see my little synopsis of his career and what he's done so far in the UFC. But anyways, back to UFC 310 results. Let's finish up the card. I'll try to get you out before football. Don't worry. Not too much to go on after this. Just got the early prelims. Eric Anders defeated Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman was doing enough to stay alive at the end of round 2. It kind of looked like the Anthony Smith-Dominic Reyes fight. But referee Mark Smith steps in, and Chris Weidman loses by TKO round 2, 4 minutes and 51 seconds. Sad to see for Weidman. He looked great in round 1. He ended up dropping Eric Anders, but Eric Anders ends up putting him on his back and just landing a lot of strikes. Weidman missing on a shot. Ended up falling. Ended up in a bad position, never getting up. Weidman kind of looked old. He didn't look great in there in that round 2. He might have gassed. Who knows? But yeah, Eric Anders comes out with the win at a catch weight of 195 pounds. Sad to see for Chris. At flyweight, Joshua Van defeats Cody Durden. What a chin on Cody Durden. That boy got a freaking chin, bro. Are you serious? Every single moment of round 2 and 3, I thought he was going to get finished by Joshua Van, but he was just doing enough to stay in there. The referee that was in there was definitely not the same referee that was in there for Chris Weidman and Eric Anders and Dominic Reyes and Anthony Smith, because they would have definitely stopped that fight for Cody Durden. Cody Durden was getting hands put on him. And now that Joshua Van has a win over Cody Durden, Joshua Van's definitely going to be in the top 15. Top 15 for Joshua Van. He's going to take that 14 spot from Cody Durden. Cody Durden will probably drop down to 15, and Matt Schnell will probably get bounced out of the top 15. Joshua Van finally going to have a number next to his name. He lost to Charles Johnson in his last fight. He lost to 13. He is now going to be number 14, just under Charles Johnson. That makes sense to me. Cody Durden can still stay in the top 15. He didn't get finished, so it just makes sense that all three guys sit, at 13, 14, and 15, respectively. Michael Chiesa defeats Max Griffin, submission, rear naked choke, round 3. A lot of late finishes on this card, but Chiesa gets a nice submission win. He needed that. Max Griffin, the older fighter, less seasoned fighter, fighting the not as great competition. Chiesa stringing 2 good wins together, beating now Tony Ferguson and Max Griffin, both by finish, both by rear naked choke. Both in this year of 2024, Michael Chiesa looking primed to make a big run at welterweight. We'll see what happens with him. Glad to see he got a big win. We got him, in this week's wins. You'll see that a little later. But yeah, shout out to Michael Chiesa. Fat win. Glad to see it. Love to see that he put on a good performance for the old guys out there. Not a boring old guy fight. Those guys, had a fun time in there. And my favorite 2 fights of the night, because I parlayed them together and won on them. Chase Hooper defeated Clay Guida, submission armbar, round 1. The simulation was right again. The UFC P unit simulation was right again. Chase Hooper submitted Clay Guida in the simulation in round 3. This time in round 1 in IRL. Sorry, not in IRL. But yeah, in real life, Chase Hooper defeated Clay Guida armbar round 1, 3 minutes and 41 seconds. Made it look easy. Clay Guida started way closer on the books, and they got farther and farther apart as the night went on. Chase Hooper, I think, closed at a minus 1,200 favorite, which is absolutely crazy against a seasoned vet like Clay Guida. But nonetheless, he did win by armbar in round 1. And Kennedy Nzechukwu defeats Lucas Brzeski. TKO punches round 1, 4 minutes 51 seconds. Almost got out of round 1, but got him right as it was about to end. TKOs him. What a win for Kennedy. Now at heavyweight, came up from light heavyweight. Now at heavyweight, looks like he's going to build his body into that heavyweight body. His power carried up, so it looks like a more comfortable place for him. And I hope to see him in some good fights in the future. Brzeski will be getting cut by the UFC after this. I think he's lost most of his fights in the UFC and has been getting finished quite a lot recently. So it doesn't look like any good fortunes are coming for Brzeski. But yeah, that is the UFC 310 results. Again, no fighter spotlight this week. No fighter spotlight. Go check out my fighter spotlight on Brian Battle. I already did it. So go check him out. I was thinking of doing one on Chase Hooper, but he's alternated so many wins and losses, and he's just started to get on a win streak. I figured I could wait a little. He's still only 25. Plenty of time with Chase Hooper. So, yeah, that was my reasoning on that. Moving on, let's go into some Asian MMA, shall we? One Fight Night 26, Lee versus Rasulov results. Now, I'm only really going to go over 2 fights on this. Okay, maybe 3. But nonetheless, let's go over these results. Okay? Let's start off with the top. Christian Lee versus Ali Beg Rasulov. Ended in a no contest. Eye poke. Now, there were some positives in this fight. Christian Lee, in his first fight back since the death of his sister, looked really good to start. He looked like old Christian Lee. He started pressing the action. He was landing some punches. He was trying to get his takedown attempts. I mean, Rasulov was not having it. I mean, his last name ends in OV. So, he wasn't having none of those takedowns. So this was largely ending up to be a striking affair. And unfortunately, in round 2, Christian Lee Had the hands up a little too high. Pokes Ali Rasulov. Rasulov is unable to continue. The fight ends up being a no contest. Unfortunately, we don't see the result that we would have liked to see. We didn't get to see this 5-round championship fight conclude, but hey, we can always set up a rematch. No worries there. It's not a loss for Christian Lee. He got back into the ring, the cage, the fight sphere. And he did his thing. He proved that he can get back in there and into combat, get his mind right for it, and get his head in the game and do well. So glad to see that he didn't let outside elements get to him. And we'll see him again, hopefully in 2025 early. And this rematch should be fun. Should be fun. Next, Kathorngani Sorsamai defeated Nakrov Fairtex unanimous decision in Muay Thai. Maisa Bastos defeats Daniel Kelly unanimous decision, who's for the one atomweight submission grappling championship. Now, if you saw the first time, Bastos beat Kelly on points. Kelly was up on submission attempts. Then Bastos got one, and then she got another one real quickly and stole it right at the end. Bastos was dominant this time. She proved she was the better grappler this time. Daniel Kelly didn't really show too much in this one. I was surprised. Maisa Bastos. I could be saying it wrong. It's my accent. Leave me alone. But anyways, she remains the champ. She proved she is the champ. Unanimous decision. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, I was upset about this one. I really thought my boy Jared Monkey God Brooks was going to do it. But Reese McLaren defeats Jared Monkey God Brooks. Split decision. It was so close. But we lost. It's okay. I wasn't able to bet on it anyways. But I feel for my guy, Jared Brooks. I really thought with the caliber of fighter that he fought and his style, he was going to beat Reese. But Reese proved that, he can implement his game plan at any level in any sport. So Reese McLaren, big win over Jared Monkey God Brooks. Proves he's of the top. If you get a huge fight next, I could see him fighting for a title. Ilyas Mahmoudi defeats Dennis Purich by KO, round 3, Muay Thai. Yuya Wakamatsu defeats Gilbert Nakatani, unanimous decision. I called it Yuya Wakamatsu. If you took these bets, I mean, I only got you on Yuya Wakamatsu, really. We kind of lost on Daniel Kelly. Oh, no, wait. I think I gave you Bastos. Did I? Let me look back last week. Nope, I gave you Daniel Kelly. Damn. Sorry about that. But I gave you Ilyas Mahmoudi, I gave you Mahmoudi. Yeah, I did. Ilyas Mahmoudi defeated Purich by KO. I gave you that. Yeah, I gave you that. I'm looking back. Yeah, I gave you Brooks, though. I gave you Brooks and Kelly. Sorry about that. Didn't see that one coming. Unfortunately, did not see that one coming. I can't look into the future, unfortunately. But yeah, Shamil Gasanov defeated Halil Amir, unanimous decision. Kolabate defeated Shinya Aoki by heel hook. Told you about that one as well. Kolabate, there was no reason why they would send in Kolabate to lose to Shinya Aoki. So I kind of figured that he would sub him. I didn't see a decision coming. I thought I'd see a sub because anybody that has a name and that's trying to build a name that gets into a grappling match with Shinya Aoki seems to finish him with a submission. So it just felt right. And Kolabate did exactly what we thought he was going to do. So Kolabate defeats Shinya Aoki heel hook, 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Jonathan DeBella beats Rui Botello by unanimous decision in kickboxing. Dante Leon also gave you him. You're welcome. Defeats Bruno Pucci by submission, triangle armbar, round 1, 2 minutes and a second. Told you, Dante Leon was also one of the picks that I gave you last week. If you took Dante Leon, you're welcome on that. Probably not breaking the mold because they were huge favorites, but whatever. And last fight on the card, Thong Boon, PK Sunchai defeats Daniel Williams by TKO round 2. Daniel Williams, round 2. Yeah. And those are the one results. One Fight Night 26, Lee versus Rasulov. So hopefully we see that fight redone sometime in the future. Let's get into some boxing. Emmanuel Navarette versus Oscar Valdez 2. I told you this fight would be a banger. I told you this fight would be a banger. Did I lie? Did I lie? I don't think I lied. I don't think I did. Come on. Valdez came out doing exactly what we thought he was going to do. He came out swinging these freaking bombs, and he was trying to put Navarrete out. He was throwing hard. But Navarrete's that guy. He came back. He said, "You got that? All right, bet. I got this." And he put it on Valdez. He came back with an onslaught of his own, and he was putting Valdez up against the ropes. He was just doing too much against him. I mean, every round it kind of looked like he was gonna put him down at some point. What round did he drop him in? Was it 2? Or was it 4? Huh. I think it was 4. It was 4. Yeah, it was 4. So he drops him in round 4. So yeah, he was already getting pieced up. It was basically 10-8. Then he gets dropped in round 4, right? So Valdez, we kind of see what's about to happen. We're like, oh, this is not going to decision. It's not going to decision. Yeah, and in round 6, Navarrete showed why he's the champ, and he put him out with a ferocious left, knocked his mouthpiece out. Yeah. Round 6, referee calls it. Referee called it. Manuel Navarrete, TKO, round 6. Oscar Valdez retains his WBO super featherweight title. Wow. I thought it was super lightweight. Super featherweight, really? Huh. Could have sworn it was super lightweight. Anyways. Also on the card, championship fight, Rafael Espinoza defeats Hubsy Ramirez. TKO also in round 6, 12 seconds in for the WBO featherweight title. So maybe we see a super fight next, Espinoza, Navarrete. Were they trying to set something up there? Espinoza goes up. Yeah? He goes for the super? No? Yeah? For Jackson Marinez fans, sorry for Jackson Marinez fans out there. Lindolfo Delgado defeats Jackson Marinez. TKO 5. TKO 5. Sorry about that. And the only other fight I'll mention on this card is Richard Torres Jr. defeats Isaac Munoz Gutierrez. TKO round 3. If you know Richard Torres, he's got the mustache, he's got the fro, and he's got these 2 bombs, and he puts people out. He puts people to sleep. He knocks people out. Watch out for his career. He's really good. He's on the rise. Let's look at his record real quick. He is now 12-0. 12-0 for Richard Torres Jr. Okay? Big win. Big freaking win. That's it. That's it for boxing over the weekend. That's it that I'm gonna go over. I got to do this stuff quick, Fuzzy in the house, big up Gaff, doing God's work. Boy, I see you. Thanks, bro. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming through. Drop that like. Don't forget to drop that like. Don't hold it hostage. Don't hold it hostage. Other boxing to look out for coming up this week, next week, all that. I'm gonna give you 3 freaking cards to look out for. 1 under the radar, and 2 that 2 under the radar, and 2 that you should really know. December 14th, Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico. ESPN Plus, Jaime Munguia takes on Bruno Sirachi. Not Sriracha. 10 rounds, super middleweight. Okay? Then we got December 21st, the week after. Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, DAZN pay-per-view. Alexander Usyk, Tyson Fury, 12 rounds for Usyk's undisputed heavyweight championship. Okay? Undisputed. Round 2. We're about to see this fight again. Will we get a trilogy? Who knows? Will Usyk make it even easier this time? Who knows? We'll see what happens. December 24th, Christmas Eve in Tokyo. Title fight. Naoya Inoue takes on Sam Goodman. 12 rounds for Inoue's undisputed junior featherweight championship. Christmas coming early, baby. And then December 30th, bringing in the new year in Tokyo on Fameo's YouTube channel. Ryan Garcia takes on Rukia Ampo. 8 rounds, 153 pounds, catchweight exhibition fight. Cromel Moten takes on Albert Pagara. 8 rounds at junior welterweight. And Amado Vargas takes on Sean Garcia. 8 rounds at welterweight. That is all on Fameo YouTube channel. That's going to be an interesting card to end the year. We're also going to have Ryzen at the end of the year. Don't forget about Ryzen. Ryzen. But yeah, that does it for boxing. That's the boxing notables. Now let's get to my favorite segment of the week. Segment that causes me a little pain this week. It doesn't even feel like a this week's wins. It feels like a this week's L's. And I would put Nate Landwehr on the graphic if I could. But yeah, it's this week's wins. Sad one this week. Real sad one. Not a happy this week's wins. Very upsetting, honestly. Very upsetting. Let's start. We started off the card hot, man. We really did. Our starter pack was going gangbusters, okay? Our starter pack was looking good. Started off on FanDuel. I was like, oh, yeah. Put a little quick 5 spot on this. Little Kennedy KO, little Hooper sub, little 2 minus bets into a plus 208, you know? Something light just to start off the night. You know, I just figured 5 fights on the early prelims. 2 of them are finishes, and it looked like the first 2 were finish heavy. So it felt right. So I went with those 2 and ended up paying off. And you know me, if I do it on one app, I got to do it on the other most of the time. So I had to do it on DraftKings too. DraftKings got it too. Doubled it on DraftKings. Had to do it. The odds weren't as juicy, plus 167, because, you know, DraftKings likes to do that sometimes. But hey, we still brought some money home. And that's all that matters. Then I gave you guys this pick on my parlay. You know, I had to indulge. I had to indulge with my boy. So not only was he in the parlay, but I had to take it straight. And I had to go with my boy, Michael Chiesa. Michael Chiesa at minus 140 average. Had to throw a little money on it. Took home basically $100 on it. Thank you, Michael Chiesa, the only person to make me money this card. Appreciate you, my boy. Appreciate you. You're the only parlay piece to do your job. Well, everybody else did their job except for one. It was just, you know, it was just a tough night for everybody else. And there were such big favorites, it didn't make sense to take them straight up most of the time. So that's what happened there. And then from there, we kind of just lost all night. Just all night for the rest of the way. All night for the rest of the way. We lost on Durden. We lost on Weidman. We lost on Brown. We lost on Sterling. We lost on Garimbo. We lost on Reyes Smith because we took TKO round 1 and ended up being TKO round 2. It was just an awful night from there. We lost on Nate Landwehr. More to come on that. And then we finally got a little ray of hope, a little ray of light. We had a little Doug Nasty win. Bryce Mitchell, let's go. TKO or points, minus 320. Had to do it. Had to take the safe route on it. Was going to go just points. Thank the Lord I didn't, because that would have sucked. So Bryce Mitchell, nice little win. And then, you know, I tried to go with I didn't go with the parlay piece. I didn't go Gon decision. I was too worried. I went Gon KO. It didn't work out. Lost there. Went with Ian Machado-Garry. As we know, he ended up losing unanimously, but it was 48-47. But he ended up losing, so we lost there as well. But then we got to the main event. And I had three options on this. I had Asakura decision, I had Pantoja decision, and I had Pantoja sub. And thankfully, Pantoja came through a little bit. Came through just a little bit. And that's it. And those were all the wins. Sorry if you took the one more round parlay. I promised to win this week, and Nate Landwehr screwed us so good, having the worst performance he's had in such a long time. Let's take a look, shall we? DraftKings, so close. So close. Would have brought home like 300. Chiesa, Reyes, Mitchell, Gone, all hit. And then Nate Landwehr sold us. Sold us so good. And not only did he sell us on DraftKings, he sold us on FanDuel. Got us both ways. Even used the boost on it. That's how confident I was in it. And of course it lost. Goddamn. As soon as the main card started, it was hard to get back up for the rest of the card. It was tough. It was tough, man. It was tough. It was a tough go. But we had a little bit of positives to show for it because we know the UFC P Units segment is a go because the UFC P Units parlay was damn near great. A couple of tweaks and this would have hit. A couple of tweaks and this would have hit. Okay? If we did Dominic Reyes KO or fight ends in KO, we would have won because that would have been true to the UFC P Units parlay instead of Anthony Smith. And if we went Shavkat Rakhmonov KO or on points, we would have won. Or we could have just done fight ends in points. Even though it ended in KO in the simulation, it was just so unbelievable that I probably would have went points. So, yeah, it was a tough one. It was a tough one. The UFC P Units parlay was damn near a go. 4 of 6. But we're getting closer. We're getting closer every week. So let's hope this week is more fruitful. What are we going to have this week? We're going to have Buckley and Covington on that card, on the UFC P Units card. We're going to have Billy Q and Swanson, Petrino Jacoby. I think that's it. It's going to be a 3-fighter. Yep. It's going to be a 3-fight UFC P Units. So more likely to hit than the 6 one we had. A 3 is going to look nice. 3 is going to look nice. Petrino Jacoby, Swanson Quarantillo, and Covington Buckley. So look out for UFC P Units this coming Friday. Watch out for that. But yeah, that is going to do it for this week's wins. Unfortunately, that's going to do it. Anyways, let's get into some picks for this week. Let's start with the UFC card. We got Covington versus Buckley. I'm just going to give you a few names. I'm not going to go through the full card because I want to get you guys out before football starts. I got 4 names for your bitch ass. You ready? Joaquin Buckley, Vitor Petrino, Adrian Yanez, Miranda Maverick. Look for those to be the names in the UFC P Units parlay. In the one more round fights parlays. I could change my tune on Petrino or Buckley by the end of the week, but Yanez, Maverick, both. They're going both one more round parlay and the high risk. Both of them. Okay. Maybe I'll sneak in like a Drakkar close. No, Manel Kopp. Why did I not have Manel Kopp in there? Manel Kopp as well. Manel Kopp will be in at least 1 or 2 parlays without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, Manel Kopp's got to go in. Maybe some Davy Grant, too. I like me some Davy Grant. I think he's got a rematch. Oh, no. Daniel Marcos is on the card, though, isn't he? No, he's not? Yeah, he is. He's fighting Yanez. So maybe Ramon Tavares is going to win. Who knows? But, yeah, that's what I got for that card. And we got PFL Europe 4. Don't forget, we also got PFL coming up. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. Same day. Earlier in the day, though. Coming out of Lyon, France. Okay? Lyon, France. Now, UFC's out of Tampa, Florida. This will be out of France. I got some names for you on this card, too. You ready? Abdul Lazy King Abdurakhimov. All the parlays. He should be in all the parlays. He will be beating Laureano Starpoli. No bones about it. Don't worry. That's my lock of the week. Gold Star lock of the week. Okay. Also, he features in The Cage, the Netflix show about MMA. Also featured in that show, some greats like GSP, John Jones, Surreal Ghan, who got a win over the weekend. Just saying. Just saying. A lot of people on that show. And they decided to feature Aries FC champion Abdul Lazy King Abdurakhimov. So keep in mind. Also names that I think will win on the card. Lewis McGrillen Evans. Another good one. Telling you. Paulina Wisniewska, undefeated, 4-0. Look for her to get a big win. And also my boy Connor Hughes. Look for him to get a win over Jacob Kasuba. But yeah, those are my picks on PFL Europe 4. That does it for me, y'all. That ends the show. I'm trying to get out in under an hour, and I think I did it. Shout out to our sponsor, W.GG. Any other sponsors want to hit up the show? Let me know. I like free shit. You already know. I like free shit. Just saying. I would love some free shit. Free shit comes easy, and I would like some more of it. But yeah, shout out to our sponsor, W.GG. Use promo code one more round for 10% off. Use promo code one more round for 10% off. Again, scan the QR code below to become a fan of this show. Scan the left for the main card minute. Scan the right for one more round. Like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all that. Follow all that. Please. Instagram. Do it. Do it. That's where we put out the picks and stuff. If you've won, send me your wins. I want to see them. onemoreroundfights@gmail.com. I want to see them. I want to put them on the show. All right. And I'm your host. Whoops. Gaff. See you next week. Check us out. Hopefully we get some wins this week. Trying to get back on the winning track. It's been tough these last couple weeks. But I can't guarantee it because every time I guarantee it, we lose. But I can guarantee that I'm going to come with some heat this week. And we got some good picks coming. So don't you worry about that. Peace.